How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. It's Slick Mason once again. I just have another topic here that I wanted to discuss with you guys, which is what I've learned from all my past jobs. Now, why did I want to discuss this? Because a thought came to my mind the other day. I was sitting at work and I was like, man, there's a lot of skills I'm using here that I have used in a previous job, but I didn't think it's something that I would necessarily need going forward. And I just wanted to point, some things out, certain things that I've learned from previous jobs that have helped me in future jobs. And I just wanted to let you guys know that, no job is too small. Like you learn certain things along the way, and then that's what you apply when you enter, a position that requires more responsibility. So let's go into the first point here. So there's a connected skill set. So why a random skill learned at a bad job unexpectedly becomes a secret weapon in your next higher level role, right? So um, I used to work in a lot of call centers when I was in my early 20s. Um, what happened was I went to college actually for engineering, and once I finished, college here in Canada, and I went to the job market. There wasn't that many jobs that were in that particular field at that point in time, and I didn't have enough connections. So I was like, okay, let me start somewhere. So I went to a call center. They were selling, some electrical, packages for prepaid power. I can't really mention the clients, but um, that job taught me, sales, right? I learned sales from that. I learned how to talk to people and make sure that I could de-escalate certain situations when they were pretty angry on the phone, right? I learned how to also pretty much manage people as well, because I did reach a point where I became a supervisor in that particular company. So all these things I learned from that job. Even also, Microsoft Excel. I learned how to type faster, right? I learned how to multitask, right? Those were certain skills that I learned from that job, and it has pretty much carried on to everything else that I've done in the rest of my life, as far as like the other positions I got. Like right now, and I do digital marketing. It's I'm using those skills right now, and I'm talking to the camera. I'm actually using some skills from there too, because I have a lot of multitasking I'm doing now, but I have to keep on going with the train of thought, and I have to keep on thinking of the next thought that I want to say, and I have to make sure that I also not say something that could, lead to something worse, right? Could create some bad situations happening to me, right? As long as I don't dox myself on the internet. So to know how to talk like that and to think of what you're saying before you say it, and to also multitask while speaking at the same time. That those are skills that I gained from that job, and I am using now. So another thing is that you have an adaptability muscle that you start training at that point in time when you go through different jobs. So I've had some general labor jobs as well in the past, and I've also worked in a restaurant. So, I mean, you already know in the restaurant, a lot of multitasking involved, right? You're always under pressure. You always have, orders coming on the screen. You're trying to figure out, should I fry this? Should I fry, should I go ahead and do this first? Should I set up the plates? Like you have to have everything kind of compartmentalized in your mind and have a game plan of what you're going to do. So the issue with me is that restaurant job, I was really bad at that job. I mean, people who worked with me there could probably, let you know how hard that job was for me. And I tried my level best, but that wasn't the best place for me to showcase my skills, or at least, let's say, I had a hard time grasping a lot of the concepts there. Now, I do like cooking though, but to be in that pressurized type of environment, I wasn't good at that. However, certain skills I learned from there, I'm using now when I cook for myself. Right? I can't go hungry because I'm not cooking for myself. I can't just go ahead and order stuff from using DoorDash and all that. Right? When I can actually cook something, I understand why these particular ingredients work together. Right? I understand how to broil things. I understand how to grill things. I understand these skills have helped me now to continue to develop as a human being, right? So now when I go to when I talk to some of my friends, and when we have like certain get-togethers or whatever, um, you find that they usually put me as the guy who should grill. So there's something that comes along with that. I have a certain feeling of pride just knowing that I'm the go-to guy for something like that, for barbecuing in those situations, because now it tells me that, hey, if I have my own home, right, and I start cooking for people and entertaining, I have a skill right there, because every time I barbecue, or most times when I barbecue, people give me compliments on the stuff that I barbecue for them, and that's great, right? And even moving forward, actually, I have an idea where I'm trying to see if I can create, like a show where I barbecue, but I'm talking to the camera like I'm doing now. That's something in the future that I'm trying to bring about. But I'm thinking of just kind of, talking about random topics and just grilling while I'm doing it, right? And having some of my friends come around, and also, we could just talk shop. You know what I mean? That would be a nice type of environment to have that kind of activity. But that's one of the things I'm thinking about, right, for the future. Anyways, continuing on, the golden rule of networking. While you should never burn your bridges, your past bosses and coworkers are the foundation of your future network. Now, I am not a fan of burning bridges, because you never know when you're gonna have to, you know, backtrack a little bit. Because there's something that one of my favorite artists, Lucky Dube, said in one of his songs. He said, "Be good to the people on your way up the ladder, because you'll meet them on your way down." Right? So he was pretty much saying, "Hey, be good to the people that you're working with. Be good to the people that you hang around as well. Like, treat people with respect, right? Because when you're on your way down, right, you might need some help from them, right? So you might as well treat people with respect, right? Make sure you don't burn your bridges for no reason, right? Be as good as you can to people, right? And then what will happen is they'll pretty much watch out for you when things get bad. I have had friends come through for me, right? At certain points when I was at my lowest. And that is what has actually put my faith back into humanity, and I appreciate that so much, right? So, um, people out there who've helped me out, you know who you are, right? I appreciate it so much, and I continue to be grateful every day that I have some good people in my life, right, that are able to come through when I need them, and I always return the favor, because I make sure that I do twice, multiply what they did for me whenever they're at their lowest point, right? And it's good, because as human beings, helping each other and making sure that we're there for each other in our hardest times is what can keep us going, and what can unite us, and get us to a point where we sustain ourselves, right? And we continue the human race, and we instill these values in the future generations, right? So, anyways, I'm just philosophizing here, but you guys get the point. Anyways, so the other thing is the reality of the grind, right? The reality of the grind, normalizing the non-linear path, showing that retail, customer service, and labor are essential stepping stones, not wasted time. So if you think that you're at a job right now that's a dead end job, and you feel like that's a job that you shouldn't be at, don't look at it as something that's a waste of your time, like you're wasting your life. No, those skills are valuable, right? No matter how small the job is. Now, when you get into a higher position, or somewhere where you have more responsibility, whatever skills you have there, you could use in that place, right? Also, it's not just about what you can do, right? It's your perception, right? Your perception changes, because now when you see somebody who's a janitor, let's say you used to be a person who was a cleaner, right, before, and then you got to a point where you're a manager of that same place, or you're a manager at another place. When you see people who are doing the cleaning, and people who are janitors, people who are gardeners, right? You start to respect them more, because now you understand what that kind of labor is about, right? You understand how they get bored. You understand how they're thinking about, feeding their kids and all that stuff. You've been in their shoes, right? And after doing that kind of job, you have a certain kind of empathy for them. So that creates empathy. It gets you to a point where you have empathy for people, right? And you understand what they're going through, and you understand that, hey, this job is important, right? Even though it's the smallest job, all right, at that place, it's still important. And those skills are skills that they can use also in future places. Or if they decide to do that for the rest of their life, that's fine. But you will give them, right, the kind of respect, right, that they deserve, right, at the end of the day. So that's how I think of things. I got to be empathetic about people's situations. I can't just look at people and say, oh, that person's lower than me because they're sweeping the floor. No, that's not. Again, it goes back to what I was saying before. Be good to the people on your way up the ladder, because you'll meet them on your way down, right? So another thing is that this is a point that I kind of think makes sense, right? You guys can chime in and pretty much contradict me, or at least challenge me on this if you disagree. So the real business degree, right? Doing business and learning business in class is different from actually doing business out in the work environment, out in the corporate world, right? So why dealing with difficult customers or broken workplace systems teaches you more about human psychology and business than a university lecture ever could. Do I have to say more? Right? It's also like somebody learning medicine through books, but then when they actually do it, it's a different situation, right? You have to actually have somebody teach you to apply the knowledge that you've learned. But when you're learning it as you go, as opposed to knowing the theory to begin with, it's different. It's different. Then it becomes a natural skill, right? And then in most cases, when you could do it out in the real world and you're really good at it, most companies will actually pay you or pay for you to go back to school to just get the credentials, and then increase your salary at the end of the day. So those are certain things I've seen in the world, as in the corporate world, in the workforces I've been going through my life all these years. So I'm about to turn 38 actually, and these are certain lessons that I've learned, and I think I had to share them with you guys, so at least you could understand that whatever job you're doing right now, it's not a waste of time. It's not useless, right? You are a person who's growing, and the more you do and the more you go through this world, you will learn certain things that you'll never know when you'll need to use or apply those things at the end of the day. So please leave a comment and a like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want me to discuss next. If you disagree with anything I said, or agree, or want to chime in and say something in the comments, go ahead. Right? I love to hear the feedback from you guys, and just know that as we go on and we grind every day and try to figure out this world, there's certain things out there that certain problems we can solve, and certain problems that we can't at the moment, but we always find a way. And live your life and live it to the best that you can. Right? So thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk soon.